Disney's Scary Storybook Collection. Aladdin, Who's That Ghost? It was a dark, rainy day. Jasmine stared out the window. I'm so bored. I wish we could take a walk outside, she said with a sigh. Don't let the bad weather get you down, Aladdin said. We can still go for a walk. But there's a storm outside, said Jasmine. We can walk through the palace, said Aladdin as he reached for Jasmine's hand. Meanwhile, the genie was also feeling bored. But when he overheard Aladdin and Jasmine's plan, he got a brilliant idea. I think it's time for a little rainy day fun, he said with a laugh. Aladdin and Jasmine began walking through the palace. Outside, the wind howled. Jasmine jumped as thunder boomed and lightning flashed. Abu, their pet monkey, came running from the other room and hopped right on Aladdin's shoulder. It's just a little storm, Aladdin said calmly. We're safe inside the palace. Aladdin led Jasmine through a shortcut. This will take us to the kitchen, so when we're done with our walk, we can have a royal snack, Aladdin said. I already know where the kitchen is, said Jasmine. But this is a super shortcut. You'll see, said Aladdin. What Aladdin didn't know was that he had taken a wrong turn and was heading towards a very different place. As they continued walking, the air began to feel cold. Ah! Abu screeched as he walked right into a cobweb. He chattered and jumped onto Aladdin's shoulder for safety. Are you sure this is the way to the kitchen? Jasmine asked nervously. Aladdin nodded, but he wasn't sure at all. It's just a little farther, Aladdin said, but he didn't recall the shortcut being quite so cold and damp, or so dark. Just then he saw a door up ahead. Aha, he said, relieved. That must be the door that leads to the kitchen. Slowly he opened the door. Suddenly hundreds of squealing bats flew out at them, circled over their heads. Jasmine screamed. Boo closed his eyes tightly and chattered. Let's get out of here, yelled Aladdin, and they all began to run. As they ran as fast as they could down a long hallway. At the end of the hallway stood a door. In here, shouted Aladdin as they ran for cover. Once they had slammed the door shut, the three of them huddled together, trying to catch their breath. Whew, said Aladdin. Glad that's over. I think this was the door we were supposed to go through in the first place. Jasmine and Abu followed as Aladdin led the way. Just a few more steps and we'll be making ice cream sundaes, Aladdin said, but a few more steps led them into one of the darkest, coldest, and spookiest places they had ever been, the dungeon. They all looked around nervously. Just then, the sound of laughter surrounded them. Abu's teeth started to chatter, and Jasmine felt a shiver run down her spine. A voice boomed. Even if you scream and shout, I don't think they'll let you out. Who are you? Asked Aladdin. Show yourself. Here I am, you lovely host. I'm the creepy dungeon ghost, shouted the ghost as he appeared in front of them. They couldn't believe their eyes. They had all heard about ghosts that lived in the dungeon, but they had never dreamed they'd meet one. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, the ghost disappeared. Don't worry, Jasmine, I'll get you out of here safely, Aladdin assured her. Then Aladdin led Jasmine and Abu in another direction. He was desperately searching for a door or secret exit. A cold wind blew through the air. They walked quickly through the twisting halls of the dungeon. It was eerie and quiet. Just then the floor gave way. All three of them went flying down a chute. Ah! Shouted Aladdin, Jasmine, and Abu. They landed with a thump. Suddenly the ghost appeared again. Nice trip, he said with a laugh. Aladdin and Jasmine looked at each other. This ghost was starting to remind them of someone they knew. They decided to try to find out who the ghost was. Hey, do we know you? Asked Aladdin. I'll say, said the ghost, chuckling. Jasmine turned to Aladdin and raised her eyebrows. Aladdin looked closely at the ghost. There was something very familiar about this ghost. The two walked closer to it. And do you know who I am? Asked Jasmine. Yeah, you're Princess Jasmine. Owl's girl, answered the ghost. Aha, shouted Aladdin. Gotcha. You're not a ghost. You're the genie, Jasmine said. Oops, caught me, said the genie, turning back into himself. I lose. That wasn't very funny, Genie, said Aladdin. Yeah, you really scared us, said Jasmine. Abu chattered angrily. I'm sorry, said the genie, but you did say you were bored. It was just a little rainy day fun. Jasmine and Aladdin couldn't help laughing. Now can you get us out of here? Asked Aladdin. Yes, sir, said the genie, as he quickly turned into a giant flashlight and began to lead them to the kitchen. Soon they were eating ice cream sundaes. I guess I did a pretty good job of scaring up some ice cream, said the genie. Everyone laughed. A boring rainy day with the genie around? Never. The end.